Why is Cathie Wood and ARK Invest dumping Bitcoin? And the CFTC has announced that there is no free market in the United States. And very alarmingly, we have to talk about the most recent crypto developments in Europe in terms of regulation. Yikes. There's a lot of important conversations to be had about these topics. I'm going to keep it brief and just highlight to you what catches my eye and what I think is important in these stories. So if you appreciate these videos, I appreciate it if you hit the like button. And if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit subscribe with the bell notification. And if these videos just aren't enough for you, you want to know exactly what Toby and I are doing with our own cryptocurrency investments, of course, you have to check out learningcrypto.com, home of the CT Club, where not only you see what we're doing with our cryptocurrencies, but there's also a ton of additional information like tutorials and our research page to help you figure out how to do these things with your cryptocurrencies. We're adding new tutorials, new classes, more and more information every day, so make sure to check it out. All right, so first let's talk about Cathie Wood and ARK Invest. They have sold over 700,000 shares of the Bitcoin Grayscale Trust. And this is confusing some people because if you don't, this was like not even a month ago, 2 weeks ago, maybe, Cathie Wood was coming out with astronomical price predictions for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in general. And now they're dumping the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust holdings. Now, keep in mind, the GBTC has seen a 250% increase in the past year, outperforming Bitcoin itself. Some people are also reminding us that Cathie Wood actually did something very similar about their Tesla shares, where she was publicly saying how bullish she was on Tesla, when in reality, behind the scenes, they were dumping their shares of that as well. So what could the motivations be for Cathie here? Well, I'm not Cathie, so I can't speak to that. But my thought is that I haven't read in any of these articles. My thought is that they're actually selling GBTC as a profit. And because you guys also know, ARK Invest is applying for a Bitcoin spot ETF as well. And the SEC basically has until January 10th to make a decision on that application specifically for ARK Invest. They can't back their spot ETF with GBTC. They have to have the real thing. So maybe they're dumping this exposure for Bitcoin to buy up the real thing. So something tells me this could be the necessary move for ARK Invest to get more Bitcoin, real Bitcoin, not just GBTC, but BTC. Moving on, we've seen all these companies trying to jump through the hoops of the SEC just to get a Bitcoin spot ETF. We've also seen what's happened to Binance, what's happening to Kraken, what's happening to any cryptocurrency that is trying to function within the confines and the regulations that don't exist in the United States. And just the utter embarrassment that is of those regulators. The CFTC is taking it upon themselves with all that's been happening with Binance and CZ. Keep in mind, the U.S. Justice Department has had 1 year of investigating Binance before they came to this particular conclusion and settlement with Binance and CZ, the $4.3 billion from Binance. Now the CFTC is saying, you know what, let's take a look. I want to take a look at their books. Let's see what they got cooking in there, because they think that they can get even more. And honestly, how does this not evoke an image of vultures picking at the carcass of something that could have been kind of cool, albeit Binance is centralized? Anyone who's been watching this channel and, for any amount of time, my feelings on centralized platforms and the limitations that they have because they are a bottleneck. But still, what we are watching in the United States and these cryptocurrency companies, it's an ugly, ugly fight. In case any of you were wondering if there was still a free market to be had in the United States from anyone trying to build a business there, this is from Chrissy Goldsmith Romero, a commissioner at the CFTC. She says operating in the U.S. market should be viewed as a privilege rather than an inherent right, emphasizing the expectation that all entities, including non-U.S. companies, will strictly follow the law. So you have to have permission, obviously, from the United States government and their regulators to do business in the United States. And even if those laws and regulations cannot be applied to you how they currently stand. And honestly, my heart goes out to anyone who's trying to do a crypto company in the United States. This is what you're up against. Not exactly facilitating innovation, not exactly enthusiastic to bring in the cryptocurrencies to the US. And this quote, I think, says a lot more about that. Before I get into the big news of crypto regulations in Europe and the crazy things that they're going to try to do there, I cannot forget to remind you guys that Trezor still has their Black Friday sale going on. There's only a few days left, and it's a huge discount. It's 40% off, a true Black Friday sale if you ask me. So don't forget to put your order in. There's a link for it down below in the video description, especially for those of you who want to help support this channel in our efforts to educate the public about cryptocurrencies and the right way to do it. I really appreciate it if you use that link. Those of you who've been waiting for your time to take advantage of Black Friday sales, this is it. You can buy multiple hardware wallets at a huge discount. So 40% off Trezor devices until November 27th, I believe. So don't miss it. Speaking of regulations, let's go across the pond, across the Atlantic to Europe, where they kind of stepped out first, giving really clear guidelines on who is defined as what entity in these regulations, what are cryptocurrency exchanges, what are wallet providers, what are their expectations, and how can they be compliant in these new cryptocurrency specific regulations laid out from Europe. Seemed like a great idea. Now, didn't take too long until now they are just really wanting to clamp down extremely hard on what is expected of terms of reporting for cryptocurrency exchanges in Europe. If you're trying to send or receive cryptocurrencies with an exchange, these are intense. And of course, this is all in the name of countering terrorism, fighting money laundering, and all of the nefarious activities that never existed before cryptocurrencies. This is crazy. Mark my words, this effort from Europe or anyone trying to force their customers to fork over extremely sensitive personal identifying information to be stored by third parties, it makes you vulnerable, not more secure. And it happens every single time. Here's specifically what they're saying. CASPs will be required to gather comprehensive address information and document details, eliminating the use of PO boxes or virtual addresses. This move aims to tighten the noose around any potential misuse of crypto services for illicit activities. Also, it's saying the EBA guidelines suggest heightened monitoring for transfers that exceed predefined value thresholds, which something tells me isn't going to be a very high value of a threshold. If they involve high-risk countries. So for those of you who are already suffering from sanctions because your own government is completely psycho, here you are again being collateral damage. The consultation period is set to conclude on February 26th, 2024. So you do have a few months before you lose your chance to voice your opinion on this one. Something tells me that suddenly centralized exchanges acting as the on and off ramp for fiat currencies aren't going to be as much as a safe haven or user-friendly as they are currently. For those of you who are too scared or you think you're unable to use a decentralized exchange, you might find that it is literally impossible for you to use a centralized exchange. That time and again, you're going to have to keep forking over your KYC information because yet again, they're making it even more strict and they just want to collect as much data about you as possible. And, you know, this is also coming hot on the heels of the ECB and the digital euro and their avid remarks denying the fact that they will use CBDCs to control finances, to invade your privacy. And yet this is the regulations that they're pumping out for cryptocurrencies. I think this is just a hint of what is to come. So you guys take this time, go ahead and learn how to use a decentralized exchange. For those of you who care about using cryptocurrencies and care about participating in this space as much as possible, I highly recommend you check out learningcrypto.com where you can learn all of those tools to help you do that. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for today's episode. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.